All right, we are set here for the start of the college basketball season next week, getting ready for a very exciting season, both locally and nationally. Joining me today, great friend of the podcast. He covers college basketball for the New York Post. Zach Braziller is here. Zach, how are you?
What's up, man? How are you?
Doing pretty good. I love my college basketball. I'm very excited for this upcoming season here. Like, what are you looking forward to this year?
I mean, personally, I'm obviously looking forward to St. John's and covering Rick Pitino. I mean, it's really the most hype and excitement. I mean, I've been covering this program since 2000, I think 14 or so, and by far the most hype, excitement, intrigue. You have a legendary coach. You have a brand new team that people think is going to be pretty good. I've always wanted to know what it was like to cover a really good St. John's team. And now, look, who knows if they're going to be good or not? But it's just the excitement through the roof. There's no question about that.
Yeah, for sure. And let's start there because obviously that's the big storyline for this town right now is the Pitino arrival at St. John's. So, like in terms of like what he's going to bring to this program here, I think it's very interesting because obviously he comes to them after spending some time in the New York area, getting the tournament for the past 3 years. Obviously, he has access to more top-level talent at St. John's. What do you think kind of the impact Rick can bring to the program?
I mean, you've really already seen it. You've seen it in terms of the interest. You've seen it in terms of the kind of recruits they're getting. They get a top 35 high school prospect in Simeon Wiltshire. They got some very good transfers in Chris Lesmond and Jordan Dingle and RJ Luis. Next year they have a top 60 kid coming in from Jersey and Jaden Glover. So really overnight, he's not only brought interest and excitement, he's brought tangible results recruiting-wise. And now, you got to see what happens on the actual court because all that excitement means nothing if they don't win games. But I think I've yet to talk to someone who does not think he's going to bring results. And you'd be dumb not to think that. He's won everywhere he's been. Kentucky, Louisville, the Knicks, Providence, even Iona. I mean, so yeah, look, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to just kind of seeing what this team looks like.
Yeah, that's for sure here. And let's go national here for a minute here. In terms of storyline, in terms of the top teams to watch nationally, obviously St. John's getting top 25 love, but they're not in the polls yet. In terms of the biggest teams nationally, who are you looking at?
Obviously Kansas is very good. Bring in Hunter Dickinson, return 3 starters. I actually think Duke is going to be very, very good. They have a nice mixture of experience and talent. Obviously, the number 2 recruiting class in the country. Bring back a big-time player, in Filipowski. Tyrese Proctor is back. I think Duke is going to be one of the top 2, 3 teams in the country. But to me, it's pretty open too. I don't think you go into this year saying, well, this team is a definite Final Four team or this team is a definite national title contender. You have you have the usuals. Michigan State looks like this could be kind of more of a throwback Michigan State team than the one we've seen in the last 2 years. Purdue and Zach Edey coming off that, obviously crazy upset loss to FDU. You have Florida Atlantic off their miraculous Final Four run with their entire team back. I think they're a little overrated. I don't think they're a top 10 team, but I think they'll be very good. To me, it's, you have that. You have, kind of the year of the big man. One thing that's happened with NIL and with, the ever-changing way of the NBA where the traditional big man has been phased out is you see more and more really good big men coming back. Look, you have Dickinson, you have Edey, you have Quick Omarudi on a local flavor from Rutgers, you have Armando Bacot. You have a lot of just really, really, really good big men. I think that's obviously another storyline that interests me is just so many really good big kids that you haven't seen in a while here.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting here. Somebody who likes the throwback style of basketball here. In terms of, let's go back locally here, because obviously we have the reigning national champion here in UConn. They go on the big March run. They win. They lose some key pieces, have some key guys back here. What do you think UConn does for the encore?
I think UConn's going to be very good. Now, look, they did lose a ton. Sonogo, Andre Jackson, who was so important to that team, Jordan Hawkins, 3 starters, 3 integral parts of that team. They were picked to finish 3rd in the Big East. I would have picked them 2nd. Look, they have a freshman, Stefan Castle, who people think is going to be a one-and-done lottery pick. Donovan Clingan, to me, is going to be one of the very best players in the country. I was stunned that he wasn't on the All Big East preseason first team. I think that was a massive mistake by the league coaches. And yeah, look, I think UConn's going to be really, really good. Are they going to make the Final Four and win another national title? Like, no one has repeated since Florida back in 2006 or 07. So I think that's probably unlikely. But look, UConn's going to be really good. Marquette's going to be really good. Creighton's going to be really good. I really like what Villanova did in the offseason. I think St. John's is going to be good. Providence has a ton of talent. Even Xavier, they lose Hunter and Freeman for the year most likely. I think Xavier's got a good team. I think the Big East is going to be a terrific, terrific league this year.
Yeah, for sure. And one team I'm curious about is Seton Hall, because obviously year one, the Shaheen Holloway era did not go as they were expecting. They did not make a tournament here. They were kind of a middle of the pack team. I think they do with year two of the Shaheen Holloway era and down with Seton Hall.
I think Seton Hall fans are going to have to be patient. It's been documented. Seton Hall's NIL situation is not up to par. They struggle to bring in difference makers on the transfer market. I do like the backcourt. It's with Kadari Richmond, Alamir Dawes, Trey Davis, and St. John's transfer Dylan Adadawusu. But look, Seton Hall's picked ninth. I could see them maybe slightly higher, maybe eighth, maybe seventh if absolutely everything goes right. But I don't think this is a tournament team. They really don't have much up front. At the 4 and the 5. I know they're going to try to play Dre Davis as a small ball 4. And look, I think Shaheen's a really good coach. I think he's going to do a really good job there. But there are certain things in place that have to be done for him to be more successful.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we have time here with them. And stay in New Jersey with Rutgers here. They were the 69th team in the mix last year. They just missed the tournament here. What do you think their chances are to get back there to March Madness this year? Because obviously Steve Pikiell's done a good job down there.
Yeah, look, I kind of look at Rutgers similar to Seton Hall. I think they're probably a little better than Seton Hall just because they have a star big man with Rui. But look, they have a lot of question marks. You lose Cam Spencer, you lose McConnell, you lose Mulcahy. That's a lot of offensive firepower and a lot of experience. There's high hopes that Derek Simpson, as a sophomore, could really step in there as the lead guard. Gavin Griffiths, a top 30 prospect. It has a lot of talent, but it's going to take him some time. The big thing with Rutgers is they have a terrific recruiting class that might get even better with one of the top players in the country, Dylan Harper, committing. They already have Ace Bailey. So, look, even if they don't make the tournament this year, it's kind of like an in-between season because you have this huge class coming in next year, especially if they get Harper, which most people expect. So, look, you obviously would love to make the tournament. I think they will be in the mix for the tournament. I don't know if they quite get there, but it's really about the future for Rutgers and really about, this huge class and seeing that some of these young players in this program could have create some confidence, have a good year, and then you really set it up for next year and the year after.
Yeah, let's go to some mid-majors here around the area. There's potential very exciting here. Starting with Fordham, which last year has its best season in years. They get to the semifinals of the A-10 tournament. They're projected 7th in the A-10 this season here. Do you think this is another year to build for Fordham? Do you think they have a chance to actually try and push for a tournament spot?
Fordham lost a lot. They really relied on seniors last year, and obviously part of it was they had a very, very soft non-conference schedule, and it was a down year in the A-10. I don't think Fordham is going to be quite as good this year. Now, they do have some very interesting sophomores. Will Richardson, Angel Montas. They have some guy, Joshua Vera. To me, are going to be 3 of their best players. So it might, they're not going to win as many games as they did last year, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're taking a step back. I just think people need to understand, get another winning season under your belt, even if it's something like 17, 18 wins, and really start building something. And I do like some of the young players in this program, but I do not think they're necessarily ready to make an NCAA tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to Hofstra here, which obviously has a big mountain to climb in the CAA with Charleston, which last year won 31 games. It was a 12 seed in the tournament here. I think they projected 4th in the preseason poll for the CAA. Like, what do you think about Hofstra this year?
I think they're a little underrated. A lot of that is because they lose their star player, Aaron Estrada, goes to Alabama, but they return a lot. Tyler Thomas, who really was their best player at the end of the season, is back. He's a senior. Jaquan Carlos, who really took a step forward as a point guard, you like a lot. Darlington Stone Dubar, a really skilled wing. So I do think they have a big 3 there. And one of the problems with Estrada is they were over-reliant on him. And this year, I think they could have more balance. And look, I wouldn't pick them to win the league, but we all know in March that one weekend with these mid-major tournaments, anything can happen. I think Hofstra is definitely going to be a top 3-4 team in this CAA, and they might be better built for March just because they're not going to be just so reliant on that one guy.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go also the most successful mid in the area of late, which has been Iona. And obviously, they're an interesting spot because obviously Rick Pitino leaves. 12 of the 13 players on the roster go out with him. Only Osborne Shemmer returns. They bring over Tobin Anderson from FDU to serve as a replacement. He brings in a whole new roster here. But the MAC as a whole sort of went down. A lot of guys went out of this league. Like, what do you think about Iona could do this year?
They're going to be interesting. They're kind of like St. John's, where it's a brand new team. It's a new coach, but a new coach who has a history of winning, and Iona's used to winning. They were picked second in the MAC. I think they have some intriguing pieces. They bring in a guy like Idan Tripout from Harvard, some other grad transfers. They're really old, which is what you like in college basketball. They're really built on grad transfers and Shima. I think Iona's going to be right there in March to win that tournament. They probably, I would not count them out winning that league whatsoever. Tobin Anderson did a fantastic job at FDU. He was great at St. Thomas Aquinas. The guy has won everywhere he's been. I think Iona's going to be very good. If I had to pick the best mid-major in the area, I'd probably give Hofstra the slight edge, but I think Iona's right there with him.
Yeah, definitely fun to see how these mids play out here. And on day of recording here, I did think it's to get your take on this. We did get some news from the NCAA at the NIT, which has now taken away the automatic bids for mid-majors who win their leagues and don't get into the tournament, which is, I think, a big selling point for these leagues in the past. Now it's a lot more slated to go towards power conference teams. To me, this makes no sense. I feel like a lot of those power conference teams have no desire to actually be there in the NIT.
Yeah, one thing I heard is Fox was trying to organize their own postseason tournament for power conference schools that don't make the NIT. So I think this might have been the NCAA kind of trying to block that, number one. But look, I completely agree. These power conference teams, they don't want to play in the NIT. A lot of them decline invites. These mid-major teams basically barely get enough of a shot as it is. I hate it. I think it's silly. I think it's short-sighted. I think it makes no sense. I couldn't disagree with this idea more. I just don't quite get it, even with this whole Fox tournament.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Although I feel like there's chasing the money. That's nothing going to change there. But the last one here I want to ask here is obviously we know what the conference schedules look like once we get to January, February, so on here. But non-conference courses either tends to get forgotten because it gets in the mix with football and basketball, NBA starting, NHL going on here. Like, there's a lot of good games early in the season. Like, what are some you're looking forward to?
Look, it's loaded. I mean, the Champions Classic is always terrific. Maui is great. I'm really looking forward to that first St. John's, Michigan game, just because it's going to be a Garden. It's going to be Pitino. I think you're going to have close to a sellout, if not a sellout. It's going to be one of those New York events you want to be at. It's going to be electric. That's definitely, one I'm really, really looking forward to. No question about that. I'm looking forward to FAU. They're playing a really, really good non-conference. I believe Illinois and Arizona they have in their tournament. Look, you have UConn playing a million tough games. It's going to be a lot. To me, it's a really, really good non-conference year.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned UConn. Well, I'm looking at some of their games here. They go to Kansas. They play Gonzaga in Seattle. They play North Carolina, the JV Classic. Dan Hurley is loading up on tough games for his team. Yeah,
look, I mean, that's I never understood the high major schools that play a soft schedule. St. John's did it with Mike Anderson. Rutgers has done it with Pikel. I just don't get it. I think you're doing a disservice to your team. I think you're lowering your ceiling in terms of NCAA tournament seeding. You're hurting your chances if you're on the bubble of making the tournament. I've never understood that. Kevin Willard was always a big proponent on playing an incredibly tough schedule. And look, St. John's schedule is getting better, so that's a good one. So yeah, look, to me, it's so important.
It is very important. I'm sure St. John's fans also appreciate that Rick Pitino has said he's making an effort to try and get bigger games next year. If they can pull off the Duke game at Arthur Ashe State, that will definitely be a unique experience for college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really cool. Arthur Ashe is a fantastic venue. It would be they have the roof. That would be really cool. So you have that. St. John's in Baja Mar next year with Virginia and Baylor. That's obviously really good. There's talk of them playing possibly a home and home with Alabama, maybe even opening year in Vegas against someone. So, yeah, look, there's no doubt he's going to start beefing up that schedule starting next year.
Yeah, for sure, Zach. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it. People want to follow you on social media, your coverage for the Post. How can they do that?
Yeah, look, my Twitter is, or X, whatever, is _Braziller at NYPost_Z Braziller.
All right, Zach. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one, man.
You too.